Hey friends, I'm Christy Hughes and you're listening to Rock the Damn Boat. If you've ever bitten your tongue to keep the peace or said yes when every part of you wanted to say no, this one's for you. We're diving into the messy, real stuff that people pleasers like me have spent years avoiding. It's time to have the hard conversations, shake things up, and learn to stand tall even when it makes waves. And boy, it is a rocky sea out there this week. It is crazy. It is a crazy time. And I want to acknowledge that first and foremost because I sit in the boat with a lot of other solopreneurs, self-employed women, coaches, those of us who are wanting to continue to share in the greater good, to spread goodness and kindness in the world. And it can feel so tone deaf to be asking for someone to spend money on themselves when there are so many worthwhile causes and ways to support what is happening in the United States and arguably all across the globe. As frustrated as I am over what is happening in Minneapolis and in our country, there are global atrocities, and it can feel so heavy and so overwhelming to think about what we can do to help all of these systemic problems throughout the world. That is why I continue to encourage women to speak up, and whether or not that is activism or simply making the world a better place, and maybe that's not so simple, but in our own way, making the world a better place, that is why I am on this mission. And rocking the damn boat can absolutely mean being angry about the situation, using that anger, channeling it into being vocal with your local politicians, being part of activist movements, being part of groups that are working for civil liberties. It can also mean grassroots volunteering, supporting local efforts that help encourage people to see the good in the world. And the way I see it is there is always going to be this balance, this 50-50 split of everything in the world. If you look at the global population, now I didn't check this before hopping on the air, but in the past, when I have looked, we are almost entirely as a human population, 50-50 men and women. There are times where, yes, men outnumber women and vice versa, but for the most part, from a birth sex standpoint, we're always 50-50. It is a balance of good and evil, and it will always be somewhere in the middle. And for me, 8 years of the Serenity Prayer, first in recovery meetings, and now just as part of my daily practice, reminds me that I can not control a lot of things in the world, and then I can have the courage to change what is within my sphere of influence. And that's how I react to things. That is how I behave. That is how I encourage others. And that is what I will continue to do. Now, if you're watching, you see my sweatshirt says, "Do no harm" on the front. The back says, "But take no shit." So I'm a firm believer that we need to stand up for what we believe is right, stand up for entrenched value in our own lives. Now we have to remember that works both ways. And just as passionate as we are about the rights of others, there is an opposite force that believes the other way. And I just want to encourage you to continue to use your voice in whatever way feels authentic to you. And for me, that is this podcast. It is a snowy Sunday, Shortie. Today I am in Texas and we had, I don't know, if I look out the window, I think there's just maybe 2 or 3 inches of accumulated precipitation. We got more sleet than snow. It was very strange hearing it rain down on the metal roof of the barn. Kept the cats tucked in their tack room with their heat lamp, kept the horses blanketed. The not so smart chickens continue to go up to the top of their roost. So I've been taking them fresh water. I have a heat lamp out there for them, but they're just huddled together up on their perch, not exactly protected from the elements, but so far so good. The crazy thing is they keep laying eggs and I'm finding frozen cracked eggs in the nesting boxes. So those girls, that biology at work. I wanted to reflect a little bit on this weekend and the idea that I was intending to be finishing up a retreat today. I have been talking about the Rise and Thrive retreat that was going to be happening this weekend in Bluffdale, Texas. It has been postponed. So if you wanted to attend and you couldn't, the new dates are April 17th through 19th, and there are plenty of spaces open. About half of the women who were going to attend this weekend could transfer to the new dates, and the other half I gave refunds to, which was a little heartbreaking, not only from the emotional standpoint, but of course the financial standpoint. But I know that there are women who will attend in April who are meant to be part of that iteration of this retreat. And I have been pleasantly surprised by the response of the majority of the women who I was working with. I had one person who was pretty upset with the way that I handled the situation. And unfortunately, you're always going to have that 1 in 100. And Jen Pasteloff, when I attended one of her workshops years ago, talked about the 1 in 100. There is always going to be somebody that you cannot please. And we, as people pleasers, have to learn to reconcile that, which can feel impossible at times. The 1 in 100 means that you focus on that one person's reaction rather than weighing it against all of the positivity and all of the compassion that you receive. I think when we deal with disappointment as people pleasers, we are quick to own all of that disappointment. And if we put ourselves in a situation where we have to let someone else down, we fall on this sword of shame and guilt, or we can. That is me in the past. I would try to fix things regardless of my own feelings. And there is a past version of me that would have called this quits after this situation occurred. I would have said, I'm not cut out for this. I'm not doing it again. Because I focus on resilience in my life and I coach on resilience, I've been able to turn this around into a positive. I've repurposed this time. And that is one of the things that I've heard the most from the women who unfortunately were either snowed in like me or were coming in from out of state and had to change their plans. All of us have repurposed this time to do something unexpected. And it's not to say that the retreat wouldn't have been a valuable part of anyone's time. But for me, I had been toying with the idea of what was going to come next, doing a summer retreat, and I have organized and booked a space in the Tahoe area because I will be in Reno in June. My husband is riding in the Reno Rodeo Cattle Drive in June, and so I'm going to use the time while he's out on the open range to host women at a beautiful, luxurious Airbnb in the Tahoe Donner area, so the Donner Lake area. I put that together. I've been working on my novel this morning. All of the women that I've been working with who were planning to attend feel the same way. We're all looking forward to better weather in April. And some of them are interested in attending Tahoe instead or in addition to. So there is a silver lining coming out of all of this. I'm already working on Q3 and Q4 dates because I know for me that this is a calling. And I've compiled my Thrive framework as a way to encapsulate all of the qualities and pillars that I have used to get me to this point. So I'm excited to share this with others. And I know that this is just a huge opportunity for me to learn and grow as a business owner. And I've learned things like being really clear with a weather and cancellation policy. I have learned that there are credit card fees that come with every transaction, and I hadn't even accounted for those in the past. I had a beautiful conversation with my yoga teacher, Allie Van Fossen, who will be on the podcast soon. And she said, yes, that is something you always have to account for. I've been on 2 of her retreats. She, among many others, are the reason that I am inspired to offer this type of experience to other women. The Tahoe retreat is actually going to be a rock the damn boat format. So rather than thinking about sort of those, maybe that transformational point or something you're trying to build as it relates to a project or a new business in your life, Tahoe is really going to be about using our voice and learning to speak up. And maybe you do want to do something in the realm of activism or being more involved in local government. This might be the perfect opportunity for you. I'm excited by all of the things that I've done this weekend, even though I really would have liked to have been in a sacred circle with 13 other women. I have no doubt that we will all cross paths again in some way or another. I have learned to overcome that rejection sensitivity that comes with that 1 in 100 and learning that I can't take that personally, that it is part of business. This is a minor setback, and I just look forward to everything that is coming from this entrepreneurial journey. I'm excited by my ability to use my voice to help others propel and amplify their own voices. So a little bit of a rambling Sunday shorty today, but I just want you to know that if your heart is hurting, that I understand. I am going to get back to my writing, and I hope that if you have faced that difficult situation where you have inadvertently offended someone or someone was less compassionate back towards you than what you expected, that you remembered not to take it personally, that you remembered that there are plenty of good things to focus on, and that if we focus on those as opposed to one person's reaction that we absolutely cannot control, we can control what's in our sphere of influence, that gives you some peace of mind. Thanks for listening today. We'll talk again soon. You've been listening to Rock the Damn Boat, a podcast produced and recorded by Christy Hughes. You can follow, subscribe on both Apple and Spotify, and your 5-star review goes a long way. Thank you so much for your support of the show.